She was never the loudest in the room. Never the one chasing headlines. But she had something rare. A quiet kind of power. A presence that didn't demand attention, it invited it. She was part of the original supermodel era. A face forever etched into some of the most iconic images of the 20th century. Yet, while Naomi, Cindy, Christy, and Linda kept shining, Tatjana faded from view. No scandal. No drama. Just silence. So what happened to Tatjana Patitz? Why did the world's most mysterious supermodel quietly walk away? And why did no one seem to notice? There are a lot of sacrifices in your personal life. It's really hard to have a deep, lasting relationship when you're always on the road, always somewhere else. This is the story of a woman who could have had it all and chose something else. In choosing herself, Tatjana stepped away from the spotlight. Perhaps forever. Tatjana Patitz wasn't like the others. She didn't enter a room demanding attention. But somehow, she always got it. There was something magnetic about her. A quietness that made photographers pause, made editors lean in, made designers rethink entire campaigns. And maybe that was exactly what made her unforgettable. While the fashion world chased bold names and louder personalities, Tatjana stood apart. Quieter, deeper, almost unknowable. She wasn't built for the spotlight. She was built for the quiet. For forests. For freedom. Long before catwalks and covers. She was just a curious girl. Born in Germany. Raised in rural Sweden. Sun-drenched, wild-haired, and always outside. I loved horses. I used to pretend my bicycle was one. I'd tie shoelaces to the handlebars. Put a pillow on the seat. And ride through the forest like it was the Wild West. She wasn't the it girl. She was tall, shy, different. More drawn to solitude than crowds. More at home with animals than boys. She didn't think of herself as beautiful. Just awkward. Unsure. A little bit wild. But at 17, everything changed. A local photographer submitted her to the elite model look competition. She placed third. It was enough. Paris called. Those first years in Paris were hard. Cramped apartments, no money, too many girls. It wasn't glamorous, it was survival. There were no limousines. No instant Vogue covers. Just castings, rejections, and homesickness. But she kept going. Slowly. Quietly. Tatjana didn't explode onto the scene. She simmered. Her beauty was hard to define. Soft but strong. Mysterious but unforced. To some, it was confusing. Some people said my look was threatening. I don't know why. I think when I'm serious and I look at someone, they get scared. They called her untamed. Maybe that was the point. She wasn't trying to be famous. She was trying to survive. And yet, she became a muse. Not by chasing the spotlight, but by standing still in a world that never stopped moving. By the late 80s, the industry was changing. And in 1990, fame found her anyway. One music video, Freedom, 90, turned her into a global icon. Not just a model. A supermodel. She graced the covers of Vogue, Harper's Bazaar. Shot campaigns with Arvedon, Lindbergh, and Weber. But she never chased fame. She never needed to. There were times I said, that's it. I can't do this anymore. The travel. The loneliness. The loss of privacy. It wears on you. While others played the game, Tatjana stepped away. Even at her peak, she wasn't chasing more. She was chasing herself. Later, she would say she barely processed her own fame. She was too young. Too caught up in things that mattered more to her. When I look back at my journals, I wrote so little about work. It was always about love, or some boyfriend. I think, God, what was wrong with me? But that was where my head was. While the world obsessed over status, Tatjana stayed rooted in something else, nature. I need it for my well-being, my spiritual well-being. That's why I live by the beach. That's why I left the city. She moved to Malibu. A life filled with animals, crystals, and quiet. She didn't just leave fashion. She stepped into something real. That's what made her so magnetic. She wasn't playing a part. She wasn't a projection. She was real. Raw. Romantic. Untouchable. Peter Lindbergh said she had a face like Garbo. Grace Coddington called her a must. Patrick DeMarchelier said she looked different in every light. John Casablancas claimed it was hard to get a bad photo of her. She wasn't just in the club. She wasn't of it. Tatjana Patitz didn't just redefine beauty. She redefined what it meant to be seen. By the late 90s, the fashion world she helped define had moved on. The industry became louder, faster, obsessed with youth. But Tatjana was done chasing. She didn't retire, she chose a different life. A smaller one. A real one. One built around animals, stillness, and motherhood. I had to decide my life, or the career. And once I chose, I felt peace. In 2004, her son Jonah was born. And with him came her deepest purpose. My son is my joy. My friends, my animals, the earth. They give me balance. I want Jonah to grow up with empathy, with compassion. But her quiet life wasn't without storms. She battled health issues and heartbreaks the world never saw. And she faced them the same way she faced fame. With grace, not drama. In January 2023, Tatjana Patitz passed away after a private battle with breast cancer. She was only 56. The world was stunned. Not just by her death, but by how quietly she had been fighting for her life. Her final years were lived exactly as she'd always wanted. Close to nature, surrounded by love. I never felt comfortable in the spotlight. I found real peace only when I stepped away. Tatjana Patitz left behind more than photographs. She left behind a lesson. That beauty isn't loud. It doesn't have to be flawless. It doesn't need to be seen to be real. She reminded us that the most powerful thing you can do is choose yourself. She was never the loudest in the room. But somehow, we still hear her.